Hello, everybody. I'm so excited to be here with you and chat with a wonderful artist who's got beautiful work to show, Erin Vanessa, one of my newest artists. Type in the chat where you are. Say hi. I love seeing you all come into the chat. We're going to pop up the poll and you can fill out the poll. Here we go. We love to know a little bit about you. It's always fun to see. Feel free to type in questions in the Q&A down there. There's Q&A. So nice to see Kay Wolfersberger, who I chatted with last week. If you haven't seen it, go to the Make Art That's Out, the Lilla Rogers Studio website homepage. And I think, Kim, the link's on there, isn't it?
It is currently on the homepage. Yeah, you can also get to it under the blog that has categories on the left, and there's one for webinars, and that'll list all of the webinars that we've had.
Great. That's really smart. I recommend it. It's really inspiring. If you're an artist, you're going to get so inspired and learn so much and just feel that, like, yeah, I get it. You know, that comfort in knowing somebody has experienced what you are experiencing. And art directors, it's an incredible way to learn more about the artist and take a tour of their beautiful work. So with no further ado, I would love for Erin to pop in on the screen and we can meet her, look at her beautiful work, and chat with her. Yay!
Hi, everybody. Hi, it's so great to be here.
It's so good to be here. We're going to have so much fun. I have so many good questions for you, things I want to know about you. We chatted a little bit before Erin came on. We chatted and she said some things that were like, what? So I'm going to dig deeper into those things. Okay. So Erin Vanessa, and her name is Erin, first name.
That's right.
Lives in the Bay Area and she's moving to Victoria, Canada. Who's from Canada here? It's so beautiful. Both places are gorgeous. Erin was a video game producer and a tech project manager for about 7 years before she left the dark side and came over to the beautiful world of illustration. We're going to talk about how she did that. She's one of my newest artists. I had been watching her in the Make Art That Sells courses and fell in love with her work probably a couple of years ago and kept showing my team. And let me explain how it works with taking on an artist. Sometimes we're just too busy to even open up our minds to it because, you know, Erin, there's a lot of work involved to get to that point. But
definitely. Oh, man.
Right? And
yeah.
Before we can get her on the website and promote dark side, you like that. So here's what I want to know. So you worked as a game producer, a tech project manager, which I love, by the way, because I love an organized artist. Nice. It's both sides of the brain and it means you're going to have your stuff together. How did you come to change your mind? Did you feel it was okay to change your mind? You must have been like really grooved into this track. And then what made you decide to follow your gut? Like, how did that all work?
Yeah, so
I know everyone's going to want to know this. It's like you with the job before.
Totally. So I've been making art and drawing for my whole life since I was 2 or 3 years old. So I've definitely been passionate about art the entire time. And I did for a while consider what an art career would look like. But what I wound up doing when I graduated from high school is getting a business degree. It felt like, quote unquote, the responsible thing to do at the time. And I just felt that art was something I was very passionate about, but maybe it's something that I would keep on the side in addition to my career. So when I got my business degree, I focused on areas of project management and general management and things like that. And then when I graduated from university, I thought it would still be really cool to at least be involved in the working of other creatives. So video games seemed like a pretty good connection with me because I would be in project management on the business side, but still be involved in helping out teams of artists and other creative people like music composers and video game designers and things like that. And it's a pretty cool area to be in. Plus, I love video games. But the more I got immersed in that area, and as awesome and rewarding as it was to help other artists, it became more apparent to me that it was really what I wanted to do, was actually be on the creative side of things. So that little voice got louder and louder as I continued down this career path, to the point where I just started working really hard late at night and on weekends, during lunch breaks, similar to what Kay said last week, on my artwork, because it was too loud of a voice for me to ignore. And eventually I was in Vancouver at the time when I was a video game producer, and we wound up moving down to the Bay Area for my husband's work. But one fun fact about the US visa rules here is that they're not great. So I wasn't actually allowed to work right away when I got down here. So it actually seemed like a really good time for me to just sort of stop for a second and say, okay, now's the time to really focus on the creativity and the art side of me and see if I can make a go at it. So that's kind of how I wound up over here.
Now, when you say there was a voice nagging, how did that manifest itself? Was it when did you journal? Was it when you're taking walks? Was it when you saw another artist do it well, and you're like, can you remember? We can skip that question if it's too hard.
Not at all. I specifically remember being in meetings with the teams when I was a producer with creatives, and my job in those meetings was to facilitate the conversation and write down what the goals were and just make sure that it was all falling according to schedule. And it was a sense of just feeling like I was on the wrong side of the table a little bit, and just this emptiness, because I felt like I wanted to be involved on the creative side. And I was very thankful that I was able to help them on the business side, but it just became obvious literally in those meetings. And that voice becomes more obvious, like you were saying, during walks, or, when you go to bed, you can't stop thinking about it. So it eventually became something that I realized that I had no choice but to pay attention to it. I think when you're really passionate about something, it kind of, if you ignore it, it's going to make itself obvious to you in one way or another. So.
Wow. Type in the chat if you can relate to this. Yeah. Yes, so truth says Nicole, truth says Nancy, Tisha, absolutely, amen. Yes, absolutely, I totally get her. Yeah, it's a common thing, and it never stops, in a sense. Like, it's not that you have a voice nagging constantly, because you, of course, will now love your illustration career. You're with us. It's going to be full of all kinds of goodness. But you may say, I have a nagging feeling to write a children's book or something. Or I have a nagging feeling to, I wanted to just use really dark colors. And the nagging feeling might not be a life change, but it's listening to those voices. That's how I make every career decision, every course I decide to teach decision, and it's passion-based. So you get to a point where it's not a nag, I'm so fortunate where I can do whatever I want in both my agency and my e-course business. And if I want to do a toy course with Riley, I'm like, Riley, we had been talking a while, and we can't even remember how we started getting connected, but because we're like, what's the origin story? And it was like, I want to do a course with you. Oh my God, I want to do a course with you. That would be incredible. And that's how it goes. So, the passion-based direction.
Oh, totally. I think if your mind is tugging you in a certain direction and telling you that you really enjoy this makes you happy. I feel like sometimes people have a tendency to say, well, I don't have time for that right now, and it's not the right thing to do. But I think your mind is trying to push you in that direction for a reason. And it might be a super long and hard journey, and it might involve scheduling and time late at night to make it happen. But if you feel that pull, I feel like you should trust your instincts and sort of go with it. So
You have no choice, sadly, or else
Exactly, yeah.
it can manifest in other ways. That's the tricky part. The universe sends you signs, says Karen. Lynn Gaines, hi Lynn, says my favorite decisions have started this way. I love your words, Erin, says Martina
Oh, thank
Stolberg.
you.
It's nice to see. Yeah, isn't that nice? Yeah. I mean, what you're saying is universal. And well, I would like to be an opera singer, but the reality is I don't have any training and I really don't want to do the work. Okay, so then that's not for me. Speaking of opera singing, I heard that you sing opera.
Oh man. I sang opera very briefly when I was about 15 years old, and I did it for like, I don't know, 8 months because it involves a lot of rigorous private training, but I quickly decided that it was not for me because it is a crazy disciplined art. If you have even a hint of a cold, good luck having a half decent voice through that. But yes, I have done a lot of performing art stuff when I was in high school and university, mostly centered around singing and stuff, but one of them very briefly with opera singing.
Wasn't that a good segue I did, by the way?
Oh, it was fabulous.
About opera.
Yeah.
I want to sing opera and then boom. Yeah, I thought that's a good segue. So how did you go? Okay, so you got the nag. The voice is like, oh, let me fix my screen. The voice is like, you gotta like make art, Erin. Erin, hello, Erin. Wake up. You gotta do art. What were your next steps?
The next steps from there were basically to sort out a plan. Not necessarily me, I don't mean necessarily a 5-year goal or a 10-year goal, but it was just like, how do I make this conceivable? And what are the first couple of steps that seemed the most approachable to me? So at the time, I remember for me, it was buying a whole bunch of books on anatomy and literally how to paint with watercolor just to brush up on my skills and techniques. And then just when I came home from work, I would just after dinner, sorry, I would schedule in some time just for myself to draw and paint. Luckily, I have a super supportive husband and a very supportive group of friends because a lot of that involved it would mean sometimes at the last minute on a Friday I would cancel social plans, but they knew that it was that important to me that they respected that. So it was just a matter of finding time. The video game
Prioritizing.
industry, the
I'm
video
sorry.
game industry is very rigorous and known for long hours. So some days it was definitely harder than others to have the energy to do it. But even if it was just 20 minutes at a time, I would feel great knowing that I at least showed up to make some progress on this big goal. So
That's wonderful. So what you're hearing Erin saying is she cut out things because if you're going to add things to your life, you need to cut out other things. It's that simple. 20, we all have the same 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and it's how we choose to fill it. It's really true. My technique was always delegate and just get just delegate as much as possible, even when I only had a few pennies, get somebody else to
absolutely.
do whatever, get food delivered, whatever. I mean, in New York, it was easier back then to get everything delivered. So you made those decisions. I love that you got those books out to learn. So you did a self-study. And then,
Mhm.
okay, so you decided that and your friends were supportive. Then what happened?
I just kept working at it on the side, and it would involve signing up for art shows in my local community, which would lead to some folks ringing me up because they wanted commissioned work for some things. So for a while, I was sort of known in Victoria as the person who was really good at making artwork for kids' rooms because I loved making animal characters. So a lot of people would email me and just start saying, hey, my son's favorite animal is an elephant and he loves the color blue. Can you make me an elephant with like blue trousers on? And I want to put it in his bedroom kind of thing. So
So good.
I just worked on that after work and on weekends when I could, and it kept sort of solidifying what I thought I was good at, and also things that didn't excite me so much. For example, if somebody would ask me to do a landscape portrait, I personally don't find that quite as exciting as something like a kid's room character piece would be. So that helped me realize, like, okay, maybe I'll focus on these areas of art that I like a little bit more than others.
Yes, yes, that's so interesting. So going from when you decided, okay, I need, if you can pinpoint like a year, how many years did it take for you to go from that to representation?
Like 5 or 6 years or something like that. I mean, the thing is, I think my first ever MATS course was January 2020. So I've been in MATS classes for a year, but
What?
my journey.
It's only been, and here I said I've been following you for a few years in class. What? Okay,
Oh, no
well,
worries. But the thing is, I've been doing this art journey for so much longer than that. It's just that I didn't really discover MATS until like 2018 or 2019 or something like that. But I just wanted to mention that because well beyond that, I mean, I could argue even in university, I kind of knew deep down that this was the journey that I was eventually going to sort of take part in. But in terms of like how long I've been seriously pursuing it, it's been a solid 5, 6, 7 years or something like
which
that.
is not bad at all, considering you had a full-time job. I mean, it's not bad at all considering nothing. It is what it is, and that's what it takes. And it could take 10 years, it could take a lifetime. There are people that start in when they're way old.
Oh,
So,
total. And
you know,
everyone's story is different. Everyone has different things that they're juggling at the same time. So
right.
the way that you schedule your time is going to look completely different from how I can. But you show up every day and you try to make it happen, and you prioritize in whatever way that looks like for you. And that's what matters. You'll
Mhm.
get there. It's a matter of how long it takes. That's not as big of a deal, but you will get there.
It's so true. You remind me too. I used to all the time make like 1 month, 6 month, 1 year, 5 year goals, like scribbled on a piece of paper, little goals and big goals. And yeah, I recommend all of you do it all the time. And you can crumple it up, throw it away, do a new one tomorrow, but it's really good to do that. We're going to see Erin's art really soon. I just am enjoying talking to her so much. Okay, so you signed up for Make Art That Sells classes. Ruth Burrows says, so encouraging to hear about this journey. Lynn Gaines says, it's never too late. Started MATS at 53. And now Lynn was in my classes, and then she got an agent. I'm super bummed it wasn't me. I should have approached her, but I'm glad she is an agent and a good agent, so it's all good. But
And Lynn, I'm so happy that you're here, Lynn, by the way, because you are such an awesome MATS buddy. Well, I see a lot of my MATS buddies here. So hi to all of you guys, because I mean, your support in the Facebook groups are everything, and you're all so talented. So I'm so happy that you're all here.
it really is amazing. It's an amazing thing we have. I don't know if I've appreciated it more with this pandemic, just that we have this and we have these Zoom webinars, and that we have mats to just be together. And I can
It's
always
such a
pop
good
into
community.
such a good community, and I can pop into any classroom and just get like, it's like drugs, it's like fuel. um yeah, and so you did that. So you've only been taking maths classes like a year and a half?
Something like that.
But
Whenever
you
Jen,
took,
what
you said 2020. So did you take my year of art school?
uh, I started with MATS A and B January of last year.
Which was
I thought
self-paced.
about I thought about starting with the editorial class, but at the time that actually seemed a little bit too intimidating for me, because it seemed like maybe I should take some of the more general courses first, just to make sure that I'm really serious about this. So regretfully, I didn't sign up for MATS editorial in January of 2020. Immediately regretted it because I loved A and B so much. And then I signed up for pretty much everything else. So I know that you guys have that My Semester of Art School sale
Yes.
last year.
Yep.
That's what I wound up signing up for after the A and B courses because I was just so in love with it and
Oh,
just
good.
went from there.
Well, that must be it. I just saw you in so many classes. It feels like a few years, but so you, and by the way, we are doing the spring semester, I mean, not spring, semester of Make Art. That's, I don't even know the name. My semester
Of art
Make
school,
of
something like
arts.
that.
Thank you. Want to work for us? My semester of art school, we will be doing that at our spring sale in April. So that's a good deal.
I highly recommend it.
Yeah, the accountability is so important to me that we've got the deadlines, we have the galleries, the reviews. I wanted people to want to get into the review so they'd work hard, they'd put work in the gallery, do the work during the week at the chance that they might get reviewed. And most people aren't reviewed because it's a very special thing, but it drives all of you to work so hard. The work coming out of classes is unbelievable. Well, that's why so many of you get agents and gigs. Okay, so you took illustrating children's books, blew me away. You took, then what? You took,
Home decor is
whoa,
probably my favorite class out of all. I mean, illustrating, they're all great.
and
Illustrating children's book is
Riley,
great too.
our toy game and entertainment agent, uh, fell in love with your piece from Home Decor, and I can't reveal much. Oh, Riley told me to mention this. I said, Riley, I'm not going to remember. He couldn't be here today. He's like, be sure you mention that. And so you're working on something with him for several toy and game ideas. How great is that?
Yes, we have gotten along very well so far and are
Yes.
regularly meeting because that's one of my biggest passions is sort of the kids market. So kids home decor, but also toys and games and the works. And so naturally it was a really great pairing. So I always have ideas in my brain, sometimes too many. So it's just a matter of sort of working through them and deciding what one we like the most at that given moment and just prioritizing that. But my goal throughout my representation is to always have some stuff percolating in the corner for that area with Riley.
Oh, that's wonderful. That is great. Yeah, I think you two together are going to do some amazing things. So, okay, so you took MATS. How did MATS, Make Art That Sells, for those of you that don't know, it's an acronym for Make Art That Sells, is MATS. How did MATS help you? My e-courses.
It's, you know, it's a great course
Vector.
because I mean, it does sort of teach you a little bit about like how to make the art, but not really quite so much as many other courses. It's more
Not
specifically,
technique, yeah.
it's how to make art successfully so that you will be attractive to potential buyers. So as a former project manager and on the business side of things, it's great because it's sort of honing in on that area, which I think a lot of artists are really thankful to sort of learn about because I mean, I never went to art school. I am self-taught, so I can't really speak much to the experience of art school, but I certainly know that on the side of learning how to approach potential clients, MATS is just absolutely fantastic. And it tells you specifically how to develop your portfolio in such a way that art directors can look at your stuff and say, okay, I can see the connection from A to B about how we can get her work in this area.
Yes, yes, yes. Well, Make Art That Sells. So when I started with Beth, my co-founder of Make Art That Sells, and we were talking, and I remember walking to my gym. Remember those days when you could walk to a gym? Um, and I was like, you know what these courses are really about? I guess I was writing Maths A and B. You know what it really is? It's about freaking making art that sells. That's it. It's just make art that's going to get the artist gigs. How do you get that gig? How do you get it? Okay, so let's look at art. But boy, I enjoy talking to you. So let me share my screen. And don't forget, you can put questions in Q&A. So here we go. Boom. Is that gorgeous or what? Oh my God. Take a moment to savor that. And I will open the chat again because it always closes it when I screen share. So I don't know why you do that, Zoomy. Okay, here we are. We're good. And don't forget to do Q&A and ask questions. So this is beautiful. This is beautiful. I loved your lettering. I love the detail. I think your colors struck me first. So gorgeous. Color is really key. Those of you in boot camp, who's in boot camp, I gave you my color palette for this year, Lilla's color combo for 2021. And then I also, you are going to get another one. Okay, but let's go back here. This is very recent. You just did this. Tell us about this. It's stunning.
This was our assignment for the editorial course that we just finished up, I think in early to mid-February. And in a nutshell, maybe some of my classmates could articulate this better than me, but basically the article was just essentially how trees and forests can communicate with each other and send each other resources through their root system and fungi that live underground. So I started out with a different concept for this assignment that was a little bit more literal and about sort of a cross section of everything underneath to show the roots. But then I felt that I really wanted to do something that was very me and something that I thought I would really enjoy making. And for me, I love making people. And I wanted to sort of have a metaphor of trees and their connection with each other by using humans.
Mhm.
And I just wanted to show something that felt very intimate and sort of displayed the connectedness of the forests. And this is just kind of what I came up with.
It really communicates such warmth. Their closed eyes and their closeness, that they are unclothed and touching together, and the roots in their skin, the trees. It's a beautiful editorial piece because it's intriguing. You don't know specifically what it's about. If you glanced and didn't know the story, you might not know. Is it a love affair? Is it same-sex love affair? Is it something with gardening or forest or trees? You don't know. And it makes you just have to know what the caption is or the article. And in a magazine or online, you would want to read more. You would want to read the article. So it's fabulous. Beautiful. Notice too, everybody, viewers, how her color palettes are different. She just doesn't repeat them over and over. You can repeat them sometimes, of course. And I look at my body of work and I do use, but that was a long time ago. I tend to have similar palettes, but anyway, before Procreate. Gorgeous, gorgeous. This one got like 1,200 likes or something on social. Is that right, Ruth Bader Ginsburg?
I think something like that. Yeah, I was a little bit surprised at how much everyone liked this one, but yeah.
It's a gorgeous portrait, and we love Ruth. And the clothing, the florals, the background, her look. It's nice seeing an older woman, beautifully portrayed, but still looking old. Not, years ago, no one knew how to illustrate an older woman. They didn't. It was all young, no lines, wrinkles, sags, age, gray hair. No, isn't that funny? It was like the 80s, 90s. My mom went to her 90th birthday party. Isn't that something?
That's so cool.
Yeah. In Chicago. And my mom was like 92 or something. This is gorgeous. Tell me about this. And we need just so much time to look at this, like those potato chips. Okay, tell
This
us.
it's a personal piece that I was working on with editorial in mind, and I This is what I call just an average Friday night, especially in times of pandemic. And I really like playing with scale. So I love having tiny little people in a setting. Also, you guys will notice this as we proceed in my portfolio, but I love table settings and I love food. So I kind of wanted to put all of those things together. And it's just a group of girls, maybe they're friends, they're enjoying each other's company and just they know they look great and they're just loving their Friday night in and just sort of indulging in their favorite things.
Wow. 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 Will you point out some of the things on here?
Well, we have, of course, because it's me, there's a retro video game system, and I was just thinking of some of my favorite snacks that I like to eat. So there's some cereal and some chips. There's a guy named Cody who's calling, but we don't have time to answer him, so we're not going to. And
Where's that?
there's the iPhone sort of towards the top right corner, just underneath.
Oh.
I'm assuming that they're just ignoring that call because they're too busy just sort of enjoying their own time. So
Yeah. I love the body positivity going on here. Like her, she's got some weight in the waist. Yay.
she has a real body.
She's a real body.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, gorgeous. Look how she goes into the purples and the plums, violets, just those beautiful purples. So nice. Tell us about this.
Similar sort of notion of just somebody who is in their own quiet, happy place. And I like the idea of the scale again, because this is sort of her domain. So she's kind of in that moment. And I know it's like a very specific point, and maybe it's actually everything is quite small, but to her, it's her whole world, because that's where she is in this moment. And that's all that matters is her giant slice of cake. And she's got some potted plants there. And again, I love painting food, so there had to be some raspberries and pomegranates there. And yeah, I just wanted to portray someone who's in a very tranquil state of mind, and she's doing her own thing, and it's kind of regardless of whatever else might be happening outside of her world.
Mm-hmm. So do you use traditional media?
I do. So I am mostly a watercolor artist, and I like to mix it up with some gouache, and then I scan everything in, and then I render a whole bunch in Photoshop, whether it's playing with the colors a little bit. I like to emphasize shadows a lot in Photoshop by playing with the levels, but everything starts with a watercolor painting usually.
And what paper do you use?
I use, how do you pronounce it? Arches?
Arche.
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 I use the hot press version, and I just have a whole bunch of watercolor blocks that I use.
Oh, okay. I used hot press because Arche hot press and BFK because and you know what I used? Arche 88, which is a silkscreen paper. It's so smooth. It's smooth like a piece of printer paper, like really, well, like super nice printer paper.
Yeah, I like the smoothness personally. I mean, I like cold press too, but lately I've just been using only hot press, and I've been thinking about trying cold press again at some point, but
it's amazing that it works so well for you, because so I used charcoal, a Ritmo charcoal pencil, which I loved. And that charcoal pencil on that smooth paper was dreamy. I'm choosing my words carefully. It was just dreamy to use. However, when I went to put watercolor on, it's like painting on a paper towel. The particular cold press I used, that was a problem. I figured it out. I forget how, but anyway, that was before computers. But so you use a cold press, but you're able to get texture. Yeah, and this is probably true for you and true for me. Why I didn't like cold presses, I don't want that texture. I want to make my own. I don't want bubbly nubbly like on a face if it's small, or a smooth china plate. Like I personally didn't want it, and I see you don't have that either. Yet it does better saturation. Cold press paper. Am I impressing you with my nerd right now, everybody? Cold press, the bumpy one, think of like when you're cold, you get goosebumps, absorbs the color better and you get richer color usually. But you're getting really rich color, saturated color on, you said use hot press, right?
Hot press. Yeah,
Which
that's
is
correct.
smooth. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
still like, I
yeah.
can't believe it. So how do you get such rich color? Photoshop adjust levels, or does it come out this way?
Yeah, a lot of it is Photoshop, and but also I'm very tactile with my art, so I just love how it feels, and I love layering it and layering it. And when you add another wash of watercolor on for the 5th time as opposed to the 2nd time, it feels different, and that's just what makes me so happy and why I love being a watercolor painter personally. And so I do lots and lots and lots of layers, and I do sort of an initial all over wash, and sometimes I do underpaintings and things like that. With the knowledge that if I mess up the color, it's
Yeah.
okay because I have Photoshop and I can just play around with it a little bit more anyways. And then it's a lot of fun once I get it scanned, because then it's just playtime, and it's like, well, what if I make this purple more blue, or what if it's a little bit more red, and what if I desaturate the outside so that the focus is more in on the middle and keep the middle more saturated? And that's a lot of fun.
So do you blow it up in Photoshop and then take the lasso and draw just the purple flower that you want to push the levels on, maybe?
Yeah, I use layer masks a whole lot. Like if you opened up one of my PSD files, sometimes there's like a billion layer masks, and it's like a hue saturation layer mask. And then I only want it for like the pomegranate, for example.
Right?
And then in my layer masks, you guys know how you have the paint bucket tool to fill things, and then you also have the gradient. I like to make the gradient go from white to black in the layer mask so that like the effect sort of gradiates from top to bottom kind of thing. And
Got
I
it.
don't know if that's super obvious in this particular painting, but basically it's so much fun to just play around with colors and stuff in Photoshop.
Do you do the whole piece as one thing, or are they all separate pieces?
So that actually depends on the painting, because I often do both. For a lot of my surface design, obviously, I start out with separate icons and then I cut it out and then I sort of arrange it as needed in Photoshop. So that's
Okay.
totally possible. For this particular painting, it's all one piece because, again, for me as a watercolor artist, I personally love it when you start with like an all over wash and then you do underpaintings, and you sort of, in that early stage, you start to pick things out of the painting that you want to emphasize by using negative space. And that initial couple steps just brings so much energy for me into a painting, and it kind of dictates how I choose to color the rest of it. So for pieces like this, and a lot of times for children's book illustrations, my preference is to have it all in one piece. But that being said, it's certainly possible for me to cut it up and arrange it in Photoshop.
Which will make it easier when they want changes.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's so great that you do. It would be really fun to see. You know what? Send to Kim and me if you want, maybe one of your roughs. Like, do you do
Oh,
a
sure.
pencil rough?
Yeah, a lot of my paintings start, I just literally have stacks of cheap printer paper and I use a mechanical pencil. It's kind of how I've been sketching since I was a little girl.
Okay, I'd love to see the process. This would be amazing. Some
Yeah.
pencil sketches and then the finish, and you know, anything in between. And if you want to make it a video, we're gonna start talking to the artist about making like really short um videos in fast motion. Yeah, everybody's like, yes, please, want to see the raw. Oh my God, yes.
That
So
would be
I have
cool.
to read you this wonderful comment. Laura Carrillo says, I hear Erin saying, I love this, or I really enjoy that a lot. So evident that knowing what you enjoy is so powerful. And what do I always say, people? People buy your joy. Okay? People buy your joy. And she is in a joy space. And obviously that got communicated to me, plus all her wonderful technique and so on and so forth. But this is somebody who's loving their work. I think there was, I'm scrolling through the, oh, Kim KR is, so we were talking about hot press and cold press. She says, is there not tepid press? Okay, that's funny. Okay, moving along. I mean, that brown in the background is so beautiful, so chocolatey, so rich. Walk us through this. Tell us about it. What, how, where, when, why, anything.
This was for
Beautiful.
They Draw and Cook. It was their Halloween special submission, and this is what I wound up doing. I think the requirements were just to sort of draw and paint any sort of Halloween themed things that you make. You guys might pick up on this by looking at this, but I'm obsessed with the Great British Baking Show. I have it on the background all the time, and I love baking. I'm not super great at it yet, but hopefully one day I get better. But yeah, and again, as you've seen, I really like table settings, so I kind of put the two together for this, and I had a blast making this. And this is an example of a painting that started out with all individual pieces, and I arranged them in Photoshop based on what I thought would look best for the composition. But they started out individually, and then I pasted them all together in Photoshop.
Okay, I'm sorry. I may have missed something because I was so focused on the these mummies. Oh my God. I missed did you say that you first drew the sketch and then did them separately and then put them together?
Yeah, basically, everything is an individual icon, I guess you could call them, on my
Sure.
watercolor paper. And then I scanned them in, and then I cut them out and I arranged them in Photoshop. So in contrast to the last illustration we saw, which was all one paper, this is the opposite. Everything is individual. And then I had fun playing around with the composition once it was scanned.
But did you first sketch out how it was going to be laid out at all? Like, did you have
Yeah,
a sense that the cake would be big and to the right, this cake, or?
yeah, roughly speaking, I usually start with smaller, very, very rough sketches of everything so that I have a general idea. And then I sketch everything out on my printer paper. And then I have a light box, actually, by the way. That's how I transfer from sketches to the watercolor paintings.
Ah, boy, we're getting a lot of technique today. I love it. I'd love to, one day, I don't know, but I mean, it would be great to do a technique class with you. And you fly out here and work in my studio. We get the camera people, and wouldn't that be great, everybody?
It would be fun.
That'd be so good. Okay. That's me trying to work less, huh? Okay, that's not gonna happen. Oh, I mean, just one after the next. Gorgeous. Okay, and I'm gonna have to move more quickly because we have about 18 more to go.
Oh gosh.
So this is beautiful. I want to point out things. Look at this, the richness of this color and the veins. And even though it's loose, it's tidy. I say that a lot because of watching Great British Baking Show. But it's this, okay, let's go there for a minute. Great British Baking Show, type in if you watch it so you know what I'm talking about. They care about how tidy the piece looks, even if it's painterly or lots of roses or lots of this or that. It's tidy, and your work is tidy, which means to me, so let's look. So this edge is clean, this edge. Within, she can have mush and painterly watermarks like this, watermark, which we all love. But there's a care, this line, it's just done with care and a certain slowness. And I think that's what we mean by tidy. I also want to point out her signature is always in her work, which I love. I think it's really important, especially if you take my classes, because I want to, if I drag it over to a review or something, or we want to easily see who it is. And it's great branding for you on social. If an art director grabs it off Instagram, you want to have your name on there. Okay. Tell us about this. Oh.
I think one of my dream jobs would be to do package designing for any company that needs or wants painted botanical work. And
we do wine bottles.
I happen to really like wine, so I thought a really good example of that would be to invent my own wine company and just sort of show what a potential product could look like with my artwork on it. So on the left-hand side, we have the actual mock-up of a wine bottle that I painted, and then I added the label on top of it. And on the right is the same icons, but arranged in a way that could sort of suggest a pattern if maybe a client wanted it that way. But it's obviously versatile because they exist as their own separate icons.
Gorgeous. And you have, see my Monstera earrings? She's got a Monstera leaf up here. Didn't we have Monstera? Didn't I put that in an assignment in boot camp way back when? Monstera leaf, type in students if you know. I mean, students, people. Kim, this would, you probably have already sent this to our wine people, our wine people who commission wine labels from us. But Kim, this would be great to send. Kim is in the background. She's an agent at the studio. She says, yes, I love this one. Great. And make sure all of you are sending to panelists and attendees. Look at the bottom of the chat, that little blue box. Make sure it says both, because that way your comment will go to everybody. Gorgeous. Tell us about this.
This is literally from last week for boot camp for the mini assignment. And I liked how I was playing around with things being on top of the letter N. So I thought it'd be cool to share.
But it still reads as N. You know, it's your thoughtfulness, your control. It reads as an N. It would probably read well small too. This I fell in love with. Was this your first Maths class, home deck?
No, this was I think this was Matt's A, and then you announced that you were doing a surprise live review in the summer. So I had already finished the class, but I came back to do this assignment for the live review.
And was that the first class? Do you think that would be the first piece of yours I would have seen, or would I have seen you from something else?
You saw me from something else, which we will see, I think, quite shortly in home decor, which was in an April live review. And this one was, I think, in June or something like that. So.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing too. It's like, it's hard for any agency to take on an artist, because even if you're nuts about them, as I was saying earlier, there's so much work involved for the agency, and we're busy running an agency and getting jobs for our artists and doing, like, next week is our residency on for the toy class, just for our artists. And, you know, there's lots of things going on. And so to take on an artist, it's a lot of conversations and getting them comfortable and up to speed, file naming conventions and metadata of the image. You know, there's a lot of stuff, getting their bio, getting a photo of their studio, the Q&A, lots of stuff, right? So basically, as an artist, you need to break down the agents until they, like, okay, I surrender. You win. You're so effing brilliant. I have to take you. And you know, that's typically the story. So I guess I'd seen you in home deck, and I know the piece, and I went nuts. And then I saw this. I'm like, this is really something special, because, oh, how many years have I done? 8 years. I did Maths A. 8 years ago was the very first class. I know this assignment. Of course, I wrote it. Duh. And it's the Pyrex, right? This is the Pyrex, and I've seen so many, and this was wow. And the lettering, and there's no one spot. There's no focal point. And in this case, you want it that way. It's all even. Evenly interesting, evenly balanced. You know, just like, this is like tiny. This is like a nothing, and it's fabulous. You know, it's like 1/16 of her page, 1/20. You know, then of course we love all this stuff. So anyway, you break us down, and then we cave. We cave happily, happily. Of course, we love taking on artists. It's a drug, and it makes us so excited. Gorgeous. These will be picked up right away. Have they been picked up as cards yet? No, they will be. They will be. They're gorgeous. Gorgeous. I can say nothing more. Gorgeous. Okay, this.
Yeah, this is the one from April, I think, that you first saw.
Yeah, I'm like, wait, what? Where? Who is this? What? Erin Vanessa. How can I begin? I mean, this to me is just the most incredible color palette with this aubergine, dark, 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 dark aubergine and the beautiful flowers. Again, beautifully cared for, great edges, nothing sloppy, yet it's wonky. I love a good wonk. Look at this. It's wonky, but it's neat. There's a difference. This kind of raspberry stuff going on. And then she never does the same thing. I shouldn't say never does the same thing twice, but here it's fully filled in, right? Okay, you've got the flowers in a dark background. And here it's the opposite. It's a line, one line on white. And then here it's a white line on a dark. And it's that kind, let's say you listened to music and you heard this really beautiful riff, a section, and then they did it again and again and again and again and again and again. I'm trying to bore you right now. See, repetition. If you don't want to bore your viewer, whether you're in theater, music, art, and you're not bored and you go, oh my God, these are so beautiful. Whoa, look at this leaf. That lettering. Wow, look at the word love on this. And then these dots, and what did she do here? And that, so that's what makes a strong piece. Bravo. Love it. And then I think I wrote to you then, didn't I? I wrote to you.
It was a couple months after, I think. Yeah.
A couple
Yeah.
months. I'm horrible. Took that long. Love to see Grape Sea. This is beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful for the home decor course.
Yeah, this is I really liked this trend board because it's very me. It was very green. I personally I like things that are not super floral. I'm more into leaves and foliage than I am about bouquets of flower personally. So I just wanted to design something that I would totally buy, and I would kill for my stuff to be in some sort of home decor company. That would be such a cool job. So I went all in for this particular trend board.
I know, it's so beautiful. We've sent her stuff to Anthro, right, Kim? We can keep sending. We'll inundate. Okay. Talk to me about this.
So this is another trend board in the home decor course that was specifically kid focused. And I think this is the #1 most fun assignment that I had. I mean, I had a blast with all of them, but I had so much fun with this one.
She has to say that because I'm right here.
And I love Creighton Kids. I could live in a Creighton Kids store, honestly. So I was all over this assignment, and it was just so much fun to design the dollhouse itself and think of many other components that would make this an actual collection. And I won't say much, but this is something that Riley and I are currently in development of expanding upon. So it's in the product design concept stage as we speak. So.
Riley and I both went crazy over this for a million reasons. And look how much she gives in a piece. It's not just, she's a maximalist, okay? We know that, we get that. You don't need to be. You can be a minimalist. I did some pieces very simple, sort of Asian, like, as I had studied Chinese calligraphy, and it was brushwork and this very simple articulated line with thick and thin line quality and a little pop of color, you know? Then I did other pieces that were full on oil paints that like, but look how much she gives. This is a lot, and it's not boring anywhere. It's not no redundancy. You know how in the home decor course we talk about don't just do the same pattern on every product because it's not interesting to look at, and the art director knows how to take your art and put it on a product. You're just inspiring them, or in this case, a toy or gift or home decor. But like, oh, a glass. She made this pretty little glass out. Look at that sweet, sweet car. Beep. I loved the wall covering. I don't think I've ever seen a wall treatment in a dollhouse like that. The scale, and you love scale. Anyway, I'm only halfway through your photos. Your art. Okay. This is vivid for you.
Yeah, this is
Love that.
very high saturation, I would say. And this is another piece I made with some sort of kids collection in mind, because again, that would be just the most fun job ever to have. So originally when I made this, I was thinking maybe these icons could be arranged and the purple section could be a puzzle. Maybe they could take it and put it on bedding. So I made a little coordinate pattern, which is the yellow thing on the top right. And then maybe we have some like a leopard's face on a pillow that could be a feature pillow on the kid's bed. And I had a lot of fun taking the theme that I had in mind, but also taking it a step further, which the home decor class, by the way, is awesome to teach you about, and thinking about the actual products that you want it to be for, and just keeping that in mind when you actually make the piece. And again, I won't say too much, but Riley and I are working on a game concept for this as well. That's in the works too. So
I saw that. Okay. Oh, this is so, I don't know that I saw this one. Look at the lining. Wow, what a pretty background color. Talk to me about this later, Gator.
this is I think this was a bonus assignment for my semester or year of art school students, and it was about designing kids apparel. So this is what I came up with. I wanted to make sure that I had a main feature illustration, which is the alligator dude on the shirt, and then I wanted to make sure that I had a pattern that would go along with it. So I just showed the pattern inside of a little kid's jacket, and I just visualized. If it's about later gator and being on the go, well, then of course the kid needs roller skates too. So,
You know, when we, well, let me just say, with a piece like this, she may get an apparel gig, but she may get a puzzle, she may get a toy, she may get an editorial piece on the week-long kid festival in Ottawa. You know, like she's showing she can draw, she can do icons for editorials, she can do a bolt fat. I can see this for bolt fabric. And that's the thing, people just make pieces. You don't know what you're going to get. Certainly target it for what you want. It gives you structure, purpose, and a point of view, but you never know in this world. Oh my God, I love her. Okay, I'll calm down. I can't help it. Talk to me about it.
this was a personal piece that I developed right before the kid book pitch course started, because I was trying to think of some story ideas. So this little girl actually has a story that I have in mind for a kid's book.
Okay, let's talk.
Yeah, we can talk about it later if you
Book
want.
me. Yeah, book me. Book a
Okay,
time. This is a
I
real
will.
kid.
And so, yeah, I had another piece again that I had a lot of fun with, and it started as a sketch, but I kept riffing on it and I wound up painting it. And I just enjoy this character concept for kids.
Do you ever feel insecure with your art or mostly confident?
Oh, I definitely have moments of insecurity and moments of comparing myself to many of the greats, including people in the maths classes, because there's such a ridiculous amount of talent. So there's definitely moments of insecurity. I wouldn't say as much as there is in confidence, because I feel like I've honed in on my style, and I feel like I've got a good thing going on, because I found a happy place where I enjoy making it, so I know what I'm going to come up with is the best that I can do, and just feeling at peace with that fact helps me be confident most of the time.
Would you say that as your confidence continues to go up and the insecurity tends to go down over time?
Yeah, or another way to put it is, like, as the confidence goes up, you might still have little dips of insecurity, but you're still higher than you were 6 months ago. So your dips of insecurity 6 months ago, sorry, I just realized that I'm probably mirrored, so it's the wrong way, but like basically it's a curve upward, and the dips can still happen, but you're still in a higher place than you were earlier because you're continuing to grow.
Love it. Love it. The reason why I ask is it looks incredibly confident and comfortable. Annette Krauss just writes, your confidence shows. Yes, I agree. You look like you feel comfortable. I like the word comfortable in making art. Maybe more than the word confident now that I think about it.
It feels like I've found myself. Maybe
Yeah.
that's a bit of a cliche, but I found who I am. And I think in the start for any artist, it's a matter of differentiating yourself from people that you look up to as role models, and then being comfortable with the fact that, no, I am my own person. So I have my own distinct style that, you know, hopefully years from now, other people are looking up to, and just being okay with that is scary, but kind of a necessary part of the process.
It is. And, you know, I was just thinking the other day, which still blows my mind. So how many billions of people are on this planet that we're all on? Someone must know in the chat.
6 or 7?
Oh, you probably billion on the planet. Anyway,
Like total people?
total people.
6 or 7, I think.
Okay. Somebody says way more.
Sounds way more, probably way
Oh,
more, yeah.
Harpreet says 7, 6 or 7
6 or
billion.
7, yeah.
1.8. Okay, that's a lot. And there are no two people alike. Is that how can that be? How can that, like, just technically, like, how can that be? Think about it. Like, there's no one like you. There's no one like me. Any of you, any of the people watching. So necessarily your style, you know, this was leading somewhere, right? Your style is going to be different. Like, yeah, there are a lot of watercolors, but you have this analytical mind that you bring to your work, and the aesthetic and your experience and where you live and your DNA and all that. And it comes through. It comes through. It's recognizable. No, that's all I wanted to say. I love this. So let's schedule time to talk about your story. This one I went nuts over too. Unbelievable. I mean, scale. This is Erin loving scale, doing a great job with scale. So much to look at. Beautifully rendered houses. I'm doing a stained glass window with 4 little hidden houses in it. I'll have to
Oh,
show.
nice.
Yeah, that's what I do to calm down, spare time. This is beautiful. And so I really appreciate, look at what she has here and these dentil molding, maybe? No, I'm just showing off. Here's a roof, brick, this little thing that pops out. She gets reference, right? You get reference, you refer to photos of buildings.
Yep, yeah, I usually Google stuff, and I do try to, as you always suggest, I try to limit it to 20 or 30 minutes, and then I close the window, and then I try to do it mostly from memory afterwards so that I'm not directly copying, but I do use lots of reference.
I do sketches till I like it sinks into my brain, and then I go and draw a little building.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I think I should limit it to like 5 minutes.
Oh,
Honestly,
okay.
the page, the first page in Google Images, probably going to give you everything you need. Like I think we should say 5 minutes going forward.
That's
Whatever.
true. Yeah, that's a good point.
Update all my docs. Okay, beautiful. You know, going from this color palette to this, wow, that blue, your blues here are really gorgeous. And the mustard and the pink and the red, very beautiful. A is for alligator and an apron, beautiful. And if I go forward, I'm just going forward for time, but if you want to pipe up, just do.
No problem.
This was for children's book class, illustrating children's book. White cat. Look how she has a magical, the jewels. It is very regal. It is very regal, the jewels here and here. And this purple used to be was only used for royalty because it was very expensive to get purple. Do I
Oh, I
have
didn't know that.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Huh.
They only used it. Yeah. Did I say that right, people? Okay, Bob the Balloon for class, illustrating children's book. Very adorable, not easy to make a balloon lovable. Oh, Lisa Greger. Gager says it's dye from snails. Wow. Okay, speaking of purple.
Speaking of
So
purple, yeah.
I wrote a story for the Illustrating Children's Book class, and I just wrote a new one. And I'll tell you what the title is. Do you want to hear the title? This is
Yes.
a sneak peek reveal for Illustrating Children's Books, which starts in mid-April. Sign up, sign up. My title is Pencil Adds 2 + 2. It's
What?
Pencil Adds 2 + 2.
Oh, I'm so curious now.
And Pencil is the character.
Oh,
Yes.
that's
So
cool.
this one was I Paint Purple was the story I wrote. And my co-teacher Zoe Tucker, who's a children's book art director, really a hot shot. She writes the stories for class too, and they're gorgeous. Anyway, so this is about a kid who just wants to paint things that are purple. And this was gorgeous. You have a great kid, a great mom, all the purple colors. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Double page spread. Notice she doesn't have, here's the gutter or the middle of the 2 pages. She doesn't have the kid in the middle, so you wouldn't see. Very good. Okay, this is Momo and Gulp. This was written by Jenny, our writer
Yeah,
for Make
British
Art
Jenny.
Our social media writer. Is British Jenny here? She writes the newsletters and social media. And she wrote the story. And look at the emotion. The thing with children's books is about emotion, the feels, the warmth, the emotion. Okay, now I've said emotion many times. But look, you see, so this one's kind of judgy. That one's judgy. That one's kind of curious. This one is looking up and sad, sad, sad. So there's a lot of feeling here. Look at just that eyebrow, the eye, a little bit of the mouth does the story. Emotions are easy to do once you understand it. Okay, beautiful. Jamila, Jamila and Title. This was that
Yeah.
little tiny story I wrote for that mini course that Illustrating Children's Book Plus, just that
Yeah,
little
yeah.
4 week
Super cute
long.
little story. Yeah.
Thank you. So Jamila was, what kind of animal was it?
A
Was it,
tamarin.
titled the Tamarin. Yeah.
Title the tamarin. Yeah.
I wanted it to be titled the Turtle.
Oh, that would have been cute too.
I know, but I had already had people draw a turtle for previous class, so we came up with Tamarin. The perspective, fabulous, fabulous. The foreground, all the detail in this kid. The street scene shows interest because a kid is staring at the page for a long time while the adult is reading it. And the adult is reading it too, and they don't want to. When you buy a book for a kid, and attendees, type in what your thoughts are. If you read a picture book to a kid, when you go to buy one, you want something gorgeous. You're buying it as like a product, as an object, as this beautiful thing, and you want that beauty or interest, right? And you're going to be staring at it. And that's why picture books, the artist and the editor and the writer, the artist and the writer both get equal credit lines because they both make that book. Oh, I'm sad it's over. This is gorgeous.
My thank you page to you and to everybody who has joined in today. Just thank you.
Yes, yes. We have time for, can you stay for a little Q&A?
I totally
Erin?
can. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Let's see. Martina Stolberger says, I love your kids' characters so much, Erin. Do you have a certain technique to develop them, like looking for inspiration, or did they just pop up in your head?
Well, as Lilla can attest to this a little bit, but when Lilla first approached me about representation, one of the things that she asked me to work on was my children's illustrations, and specifically my characters. So they didn't always look like how you see them now. I kind of worked my butt off for about 8 months over and over and over of sketching until they got to a place where we were happy with them. So basically, as part of that process, I did look at tons of references of kids. I watched like videos of kids and how they run because it's so cute and different from adults, and just understanding how they carry their weight. And just, again, not copying, but I just bought a whole bunch of children's books and I poured through my favorite artists' books to see how they approached certain emotions and poses and things like that, just to inspire me, to get me going. So it was basically just the result of a lot of work.
But you learned, you did it, and you made it work. Yes, that was great. Okay. Laura Carrillo says, do you remember the books that were helpful to teach yourself anatomy? I want to get better at drawing people and I'm self-taught too.
I'm afraid I don't remember the name, and I'm so sorry that I can't be of help, but it was a comic book artist's book, and it was anatomy for comic books. So it was super emphasized muscles and everything. So it's kind of ridiculous. But for me, the fact that it was so exaggerated helped me understand muscle groups. And I'm so sorry, I can't remember the name of it. But if you look up comic book artist anatomy books, something will come up that might be of help. And for me personally, just that particular artist really helped me out.
It's really interesting that I've never heard that. I love that. Yeah. And then of course yours don't look like that. You softened them. Let's see. Annie McGee says, hi, you mentioned in your bio that Studio Ghibli is an inspiration for you. How do you use personal inspiration in your pieces whilst keeping your own unique style?
I love Studio Ghibli. Thank you for bringing that up. Studio Ghibli is My Neighbor Totoro, Spirited Away, Princess Mononoke. I'm obsessed with just the immersive atmosphere that they bring to their movies. So often when I'm sketching, I will put on one of those movies from Studio Ghibli just to have it in the background, and paying close attention to how they are so good at making just the smallest things seem magical, like how a character ties their shoes. The animators spend so much time to make it realistic and thereby beautiful. And it kind of teaches you to take a moment and just appreciate the tiny things that maybe we take for granted, because they are as beautiful as a Studio Ghibli movie. We just miss it because it's part of the everyday. So I don't know if that answers your question, but basically the feeling and the atmosphere of those movies inspire me so much. I'm just crazy about them.
They put you in a mood?
Yeah, it gets you in the mood. Yeah, that's the right way to put it.
And you know what I forgot to tell you all in the beginning? We have a giveaway today.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Me
and
too.
This is great. Erin, you want to hold up the piece that you could win today that Erin created? It's going to be
for you guys. I made you an original painting that you can get for giveaway. So it's still on the watercolor block. Can you guys see that okay?
Beautiful.
I'm really big into my botanicals, so I thought I would paint just a bunch of raspberries. So this is...
Pull it forward too, so we get that detail. Oh my God. I know I want to win, but I can't win, so. Isn't that gorgeous? Is that incredible? We're going to do a giveaway. So, oh, they're all screaming in the chat. You can hear them screaming. Beautiful. Oh my God, totally cool. Love the leaves. Beautiful. That's so nice. It is a supportive community. Let's do one more question and then do the giveaway.
Sounds good.
Sound good? Lynn Gaines says, how do you decide on your color? Is it driven by the subject or just what you love in the moment?
It's a great question. I would say it's a combination of that. And also, you know, I hoard a whole bunch of watercolor paints. So sometimes when I buy a new color, I'm super into it and I want to try it out. And I put it in a lot of my pieces. Mood and the overall mood that I'm going for really affects my palette.
And what do you mean by mood?
If it's a more emotional piece, maybe I go for darker, richer colors. If it's really happy-go-lucky, I do bright yellow underpaintings that hopefully show through in the layers. So I really closely associate the colors with the overall feel or the vibe that you're going for in the illustration, basically.
So great. Who's ready for that giveaway? Type in if you're ready. It's just, I know. Okay, so those of you who haven't done a giveaway with me before, I'm going to say a category. You can guess what you think. You can guess as often as you want, as many times. And Kim in the background and I and Erin will look to see the first guess we see that's correct. Yeah, I know, right? Chartreuse, so I'm ready.
Someone already said chartreuse. I love it.
And you may have guessed before the one we see, but that's because it goes so quickly. So it's whoever we see first, you get what you get and you don't get upset. Capiche? Okay. I just want to sit here and watch the guesses. The category, it's not a category, it's a question. Guess what Erin's most used paint color is. Most used paint color, like a tube. I'm going to let him go a little and then give a hint. Somebody, Rachel. Rachel Schmeidel, Naples Yellow. Rachel Schmeidel. So write to info@lillarogers.com. Say that you won Erin's painting and you are going to get Erin's painting. Yay.
Yay.
And you know what? It's funny. So I asked her before. I asked her ahead
There
of
it is.
time, what question she wanted. She said, you know, I've been thinking about it. It's not my favorite necessarily, but it's the one I most use. And she said, Naples Yellow. I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe you said that. That was my most used color too. I put it in everything too when I was an illustrator.
Yeah, I was telling Lilla that I buy that paint color by the truckload. It is so important for blending all my stuff. I use it in like every painting.
So great, so great. Well, thank you everybody for joining us. You made my day, you made my week. Erin, it's been such a pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Seeing
Yeah, thank you,
beautiful
Lilla.
art and your beautiful mind. And we're so happy we represent you, and we look forward to toys and games and home decor and children's books you write together. It's going to be really wonderful. That's what makes me happy.
I'm so excited, and thank you so much everyone for being here to support me. It's so lovely to see your kind comments. Thank you so much.
Really, it's great. I love that dollhouse, says Lucy. Thank you, everybody. Harpreet says you are my hero. Well, we'll be seeing Erin in class. I hope you still can find the time to be in class.
Oh, I'll be there with bells on if I can.
Wonderful. Good. Thank you, everybody. And Kim, when is our next webinar? In about 3 weeks, right?
Yeah, that's right. The next one's with Tisha. I believe it's Thursday, April 1st, or whatever the Thursday is that week.
Wonderful. This is great. And then we don't have any for a while. Do we? I don't think.
No, that's right. That's the last one for a while.
So make sure you hit them up. And also, if you missed any, go to LillaRogers.com, the blog, and search for WebinARTS, Kim?
Yep, there's a category list on the left-hand side, and there's a webinar category there, and that'll give you all the links to all the replays of all the webinars we've done.
Which is so great. I mean, you can just put them on and do your work and be inspired. Yeah. Okay, thank you, everybody. We will see you next time. Have a great couple weeks. Those of you in boot camp, keep posting your stuff. I love seeing it in class. If you want to take my next class, it is Illustrating Children's Books in mid-April. Go to makeartthatsells.com to learn more about that. And
do it. You definitely should do it.
Yeah, you won't regret it. And carve out 5 weeks of your life to make art. Thank you. Bye, everybody.